Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to see how Poker Pro navigated the ultimate pressure of the Asian Poker Tour main event final table, battling for 1.2 million for first. And beware, this one crucial move, a 28k bluff that could have cost him everything. And analyze this will save you thousands in your house stakes tournaments. I'm not specializing in tournament analysis. If you want to truly upgrade your game, stick around until the end because we are going to break down together exact high-level spots and strategy you can immediately reuse in your next major event. Alright, let's dive right into the action. Let's go. So this is the first hand that I put on the side. We are going to have an open with ace-10 off. He's one of the biggest stacks, I think. Yeah, hijack has an even bigger stack, but quite a good open, I think, in this position. He's low jack. And Watchwang has a decision. He can go 3-bet or call. Normally, the standard here is to go for 3-bet. You don't want to play too many hands out of position against the chip leader in these types of scenario. So I think the normal is go to 3-bet, especially with offsuit 10. So I think the best option for him is to go with this. John has a small decision. He can go for small sizing or check. I like both options. He decided to go for small sizing, a bet. Really like. He's going to apply a lot of pressure. The opponent, even if he's covering him, they have relatively the same amount of stack. So they are going to both have a lot of pressure playing those hands. So that's why also I really wanted him to 3-bet pre-flop. Normally with offsuit hands like king, queen off, or jack 10 off, or those types of hands, you really want to 3-bet more than flat in small blind. Here we have a decision at the turn. He has several decisions. Normally you should never lead here on this 9. It doesn't change the action, it doesn't change the fact that you don't have many jack X in your range, or you don't have the best jack X. So here it's not a good idea at all, I think, to lead normally. Those types of boards are really not the best to lead. He I decided to go for quite a big sizing, which I quite like. He went for half pot. He puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. But I think the best option here would have to be go for a check raise on his action. And normally John should go for fold, even if the opponent is not representing a lot in his value range. I don't think you're supposed to float that much in the final table. So here we have really a big decision on his side. And here now Huachong has got what can be considered the nuts here. So we are going to see which size he decides to go with. On the turn, he was repping quite a narrow range. I think not even a 9x would play like this. So he's representing a jack X. And it's really difficult to understand what he did after playing such a weird hand at the turn, which weird way at the turn. So in here he has quite a difficult decision, but I think he should go for value bet, and we will see which sizing he's going to go with. Deciding which sizing he wants to go with. There's a lot of sizing that are really interesting here, like half pot if we think the opponent's range is quite weak, or we can go for 2/3 or even all in if you want. You can go directly all in here. Your hand is really strong. You could have like a value bet with all in on this one. But the only thing is that the range of the opponent should be quite weak. So I really think the idea of betting small, but always calling at the river, and we are going to see a huge hand here. We will check. The opponent decided to go all in bluff here, so you have to know, here is in bluff. He's way too low on his range. Go all in value with this hand. So first of all, it's not a good play. So because you're too high with your value range, so it's not a good play to go all in with this hand. I don't know what he's trying to fold for the opponent, but there's not many hands that missed with his opponent. He's already winning against a 9x if his opponent was betting a 9x at the turn. So he's really not representing anything here, only a jack x or better. And here normally Watchong should have a call, instant call, quite easy. We are going to see which he decides to do, but it's really not good to play those types of of lines. And both are playing doing quite some crazy plays that you normally don't see even at those levels. So pretty interesting, and we will see which decision he decides to do. But I hope he calls. It's really important here to call, because the opponent can even value with the same hand or jack x sometimes, but like ace jack or king jack or queen jack even. So it's really important to call here and never to fold. Would be a huge mistake here I think, to fold. Especially if the opponent is capable of going all in with those types of hands at the river. Here, you really see he has a big decision. We'll go a bit faster to see which decision he decides to take. And finally decide to fold. Crazy fold here. Crazy fold. I really don't think it's good fold, but I think he was happy with his decision. In general, you're not supposed to do those types of lines. Both played the line really strange. Normally in ICM, you're never supposed to play like this, transforming that way. Those types of hand, like extend is a bluff. Is you transform your hand into a bluff because you are too high. You're never going to get paid by hands that are lower. So it's really strange plays from each side, and we are going to see next hand that's going to be really important in this tournament. But already the first hand was quite impressive in terms of strange plays. Yeah, we have an open with ace-2 suited. Maybe we have a decision from other players. Yeah, he decided to call here with jack 10 suited. You should really be aware normally to not flat too much in those final tables. Depending also on the opponents, if they are good or not, then you can decide to go a bit wider. Dominic also should never flat here. The only maybe ways you should flat those hands is if you, here in this example, you cover both opponents. But I think normally you should never flat those types of hands in final table. And now we will go have a decision with Neng. Decided to check here. It's the standard with his ace, which is quite low. And then we have a c-bet from Alexandru. I think it's a really good option. And here we are going to have, I think, for me, the best option on the turn. Alexandru is going to apply a lot of pressure and transform his hand into a bluff. I think it's really the best option here with this hand. I don't think the opponent would have called with the ace 8x on the flop. So now his jack 10, his 10 is never going to be enough to win at showdown. I think it's really the best option here to go for second barrel and try to make the opponent bluff fold his ace in three streets. That's why also something else to understand is that I think in those types of hands, at the turn, I would have folded, I think, my ace because I think it's going to be way too difficult to catch with an ace here on the river. I think I would prefer to have like a king in my hand or a jack to block the value range of the opponent. So I really don't like to call the turn with the ace, and I think the best option here is to call non-linear when you play at in Neng's shoes. He's really going to have a really difficult spot at the river. I think it's when we are going to see what Alexandru decides to do. But when he puts the third barrel, I think it's impossible to call here with ace. With the ICM pressure, you need to really be sure that your opponent is transforming a lot of hands into a bluff. That's why I really like this option. on Alexandru. I think he played the line really perfectly. And I think Neng should have folded at the turn because it's going to be impossible to defend on those types of lines. And the opponent should not value that pin in those runouts, so not going to be in front of his value range. Okay, well, now we are going to see the third hand of this tournament. The pressure is piling up because there are fewer and fewer players left in this tournament. We are going to see pocket queens here. Decided to go to open here. So he has only 9 big blinds deep. You should really be aware if you play against players that open 9 big blinds deep. It's often the nuts. It's often the best 2 or 3% of the hands that are in poker that are going to open, because most of his hands should go all in normally. So it's really, really impressively tight on his shoes. After Huao has a quite easy decision here with ace queen off. But if he had like a hand like ace 10 off, you should really, really be aware of the opening range of your opponent. And Matas here is going to be really, really neat or really tight in his open. 9 big blinds deep. You should really be aware of this. And ace, who we lose the first person in this tournament. And now we are only 7 players left, and we are going to see how they evolve in this tournament. So the fourth hand that I will show you is this hand. We have a raise here with pocket sevens and ace 10 off. End state suited, decided to go all in here. It's a bit different than the hand with kick queen off. Here he can really flat in small blind. So I really think flatting is kind of option here when the range of Neng is so tight. And now Dominic Niche has quite a rejam, easy rejam, I think. Normally 13 big blinds deep, Huawei is going to rejam looser. And so now he only has to play ace queen suited against, I would say, one or two opponents, but who have such a not that tight of a range. And here you should really, really, I think he didn't even think about it, but pocket sevens here, you should really be aware not to go all in all the time. Like here, it's really, really a difficult decision. I think it's not a good rejam with pocket sevens. I think you're going to you don't have the equity to go all in with this hand, and you are crushed by the pocket pairs that are above. So I think it's really better to call here with maybe ace jack suited than to call with pocket sevens. So another big mistakes that we see in this final table. I think it's really way better to fold with pocket sevens here in this hand, and it's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run. So we are going to see what happens here. And we have a 7 on a flop, so quite a good flop for Neng. I think in the long run he took the wrong decision. I don't think he's going to win in the long run taking those decisions. So this is quite an important factor in poker. You can win in the short run, you can win some decision, but in the long run have a bad decision or decision that is losing money. So that's why also there's so much money to be made as a poker professional, because you see way too many mistakes from a lot of players. Here we have an open with queen jack off. I think it's the standard. He's really aggressive player. He has a good stack. Or has 2 decisions. He can call or he could 3-bet. I think I would prefer really to 3-bet here. You're not supposed to flat too much against players that have you dominated in stack. It's really, really not a good idea in general. And we are going to see what the others choose to do. Neng should really fall normally. Oh, he decided to 3-bet. Really interesting. I don't think it's he decided to go all in. I really don't think it's the correct option. I think it's too aggressive, this type of tournament. When I see those really aggressive 3-bet bluff, I think it even puts even more pressure, importance on flatting with really strong hands, because they are taking way too many risks, too many risks, sorry, with 30 big blinds. And I don't think ace-5 suited is a good jam here on this spot. And now we have the chip leader, the Indian guy, who has been the chip leader for all of the table. And he's really playing well, really has a good knowledge of poker. I think for me, he's the best player here at this final table. So here he decided to raise, which is the standard option. I think the best option here with pocket tens, how many blinds deep easy is like 4 million on 120k blinds. I think it's like I think it's like less than 30 big blinds deep. I think it's way better to go all in here with this hand. Pocket tens, I think I would have gone all in all the time, personally. I think it's really the best option. The only thing that could make a pocket sense, maybe, or not even. No, I don't think, even because if you imagine that you're really better than the other players, maybe not Nishant, than the other players that are at the final table, I don't think it could justify that you fold on those types of hands. That you decide to call and not go all in. Here we have a second barrel on Nishant, really good. The good sizings is applying the most amount of pressure. Now Alexandru has a really difficult decision, and Nishant can go for any sizes, but I really think his size, the size that he decided to go with, which is, I think, if I remember well, something like 30 or 40%, is really going to be the sizing that is going to make the most amount of errors in his opponent shoes. Yeah, he had the two decisions. Either he could go for all-in or go for smaller sizing. I think really the smaller sizing is the best option here. It makes the opponent really think. He has a really tough spot here. Really tough. Really difficult on Alexandru's shoes to take the best option here. I don't think I would have folded neither with those hands. But yeah, it was really well played by the chip leader. That's why also you don't want to play too much against the chip leader post flop, because if he is going to be really good and put a lot of pressure on you, then you're going to lose a massive amounts of pots. So it's really important not to take too many risks post flop. Here we have another hand. The next hand is hand number 6. We are going to have King Jack off. Here, King Jack off, he has, the blinds are 160k big blind. So what does it mean? It means that they have like he's less than 15 blinds deep. Maybe he's like, no, he's a bit more. Like maybe he's 20 big blinds deep. 20 big blinds deep. I think here the best option here is to limp on his shoes. And the opponent decided to go all in here. Really aggressive all in. I don't think it's a good intention with those types of hands. You can check back or ISO raise, but not go all in with those types of hands. Those are too weak to go all in. And this player, who is, I think, really aggressive, makes, for me, the biggest mistake here to go all in with those types of hands. So that's why also it's really good to be a bit higher in your limp range in Dominic niche shoes if you are going to have opponents that are really aggressive on those lines. I really think it's the best idea, that the best option that he decided to go. And Neng now is going to lose a huge part of his stack. And it's going to change a lot of incentive in the final table. And now we have another hand, raise. And Nishan, I think he decided to fall here. I think it would be better to call. The next hand will be the hand that we will analyze. Here we have ace jack off. 1.9 big blinds deep. So 1.9 big blinds deep is like less than 20 less than 20 big blinds, maybe something like 17 big blinds. He could go all in, I think, with this type of hand. Yeah, I think it could, like, maybe 15 big blinds. I think the best way is to go all in. And here Alexandro is going to defend. Now we are going to have another crazy option on Alexandro's part. Yeah, Neng decided to c-bet. I think this deep, normally you're not supposed to stab range. I really prefer here to check back in Neng's shoes, and you are going to understand also why. Because if you decide to value too thin, the opponent can also bluff a bit more, because you're not supposed to have too many sixes, 6x, and the queens that you have also are narrow because there are already 2 on the board. So here he decided to go for his check raise, a small check raise with his backdoor. I really think it's the best option. Really good option on his end. And now we have a really difficult decision in Neng's shoes. He decides to call quite fast, but normally you're really not supposed to call so fast on this option. And here, yeah, I decided to check. I think it's really interesting in Alexandro's shoes. You could either go all in or check here. I like both options. Like really both options. I don't know which one is the best. And then here he decided to go for way too small sizing. I think the best option are really to go for a bigger sizing. Otherwise, you're not giving any decisions in your opponent's shoes. Now Alexandru also has to call or go all in, and he decided to go all in, and he went and won this spot. Really another hand that is really not played well, I think, in Neng's shoes. Not supposed to do such a thin value when you're against a player that covers you in this final table, and it's going to cost him another big pot, which is really big error if you want to take the first place with the 1.2 million that is for first. Then you should really make sure that you play the correct moves. Here you're going to see the Indian is still in the lead. He really has a big stack. He plays really well. Every hand that he plays, you can see that he has a lot of knowledge of the best options. Here he has a small options. I think here he could have gone all in. I decided to limp, to raise. What's the no sorry. The opponent here is now it's simple to calculate. He has 25 to 30 big blinds deep, so yeah, it's the best option to raise. And now we have check or c-bet. Normally you're not supposed to c-bet too much on king high boards, and Alexandru here should check back also, because he's too weak, he's too low in his value range to value here. So here we are going to see another check back, or you could go also for a small sizing in Incheon shoes. Decided to go for a small sizing, and Alexandru is going to have a call. Now maybe the river will be really interesting. 6 on the river, it should really be a card, I think, that will not be bluffed that many times against by Nishant. So yeah, you can check, and we'll see if Alexandru will go for. You don't have that much value also on this hand. So we'll see if he goes for small sizing or he decides to check. And Alexandru could value bet sometimes. We will see if he decides to put it. Normally, you're not supposed to value bet too thin against the chip leader. But still tries to go for it. I really like his sizing also. And now Nishant has a really tough decision. You're never supposed to bluff raise. Or yeah, either you can call or fold. Both options are really good. But he's going to also, again, choose the best decision here. When you raise pre-flop, your opponent really has a lot of king X in his range. When he only calls the flop, he also has a lot of king X, but I think he's not going to have that many bluffs here, and he's not going to bluff heavily against the chip leader. I really think he also took the best option here. And it really shows why he continues to be the chip leader, why he continues to have a big stack and put a lot of pressure on every opponent. Is really making correct plays after correct plays on this final table. And now we are going to see another hand. King 10 off. Here I would really go all in with his stack. So king 10 off now is has what 5 big blinds. So it's not 9 big blinds deep. Normally you should shove with all those off hands. So I decided to limp here, but I really don't like it. And John Nico decided to go all in here. I think it's the best option here with a blocker. You could also check back, but I really like both options here in his shoes. I don't really like the limp in Alexandru. Normally you should never limp here with king 10 off. And we are going to see what happens. We have a queen on the turn. Now there were only 3 players left. Now there will be only 2 players. Alexandru is eliminated in 3rd place. Now we have the heads up for the win. And I will show you the last hand of the heads up, the most important hand. And this is the final hand of the tournament. The most important hand, the hand that will seal who is going to win this tournament. Kings here, you could open, you could go for limp. He decided to call. I like both options. It depends on the opponent's strategy also, which one is going to be the best. Yeah, I decided to lead. Really not the good option normally. You don't have many leads here in those types of strategy. Here, it's quite easy to understand that you only have like 6s or 3 X's. So in ancient shoes, you could, yeah, he decided to call really, really good here to call. I think sometimes I would have made the mistake to raise here, but I think it's really the best option to call. And John Nico has another decision here. He can bet again. I think Nishant is really only going to play for call here. I don't think there's a way better option than calling. I decided to raise here. I don't really understand why. I don't think you have that much value here on the turn. If you think your opponent, now the 6s are not going to bet at the turn. So now your opponent is either ripping a 3x or a flush. So I don't really see the point of raising here. And we will see which option is John Nico going to decide here. He decided to go all in. And now he has quite an easy call with his redraw to the nuts, Nishant, or to the flush. But I really don't like the raise in general. I don't think it's quite the correct option here on the turn, on the flush turn, to raise with his hand. And river, he makes the flush. So we have the winner of the main event of the APT and wins for 1.2 million euros. And quite an impressive score, and really played really well from start to the end. And congrats to him again, and congrats to all the players that played in this tournament. If you like this recap of the tournament, if you like the analysis of the key hands of this tournament, please subscribe, share. I have another channel in French where I explain other things. I explain final table analysis, breakdowns. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Put them in the comments and I will reply. So yeah, and otherwise we'll see each other in another video. You can either check also another video that I have done on the analysis of smaller stacks when you are in a tournament. Or if you want to check the video out, you can check it out. Otherwise, we'll see each other in the next video.